Hello and welcome everyone. How is everyone doing today? Welcome to another quick live session taking an overall look at the markets. So, let's start off with, of course, NASDAQ 100, which is currently sitting at 1321. 13,211 is where it is sitting right now. 13,211 is where it is sitting right now. So before we had this red box over here, this is roughly 13,000 going down till 12,600. This was a resistance area before. However, now that we have crossed this, if I zoom in over here on this daily chart, look at this wick. A retest of this area happened over here in the beginning of May, and there was a retest at the end of April, and then price is trying to hold above basically the 13,000 level. So overall this is a good sign. This is very nice for the market if we are holding above 13,000. And as you know, tomorrow is the US inflation data, so that is something we have to be careful about, because as you know, inflation data will cause a lot of movement in the market, hence we have to be careful of this. If we talk about next resistance level, look at this peak over here, which is sitting at, let's put a line over here, 13,686. But of course 13,500 will be one of the first psychological resistance, which is around here somewhere. So this area here we have to be very careful of for tomorrow. And on the downside, because we always have to keep an eye on the downside also. So let's take a look at the downside. Like I mentioned, this range over here itself is very important. This is currently sitting at roughly 12,600 till 13,000. So a retest over here can happen. Even if I zoom in, look at this, the red moving average is sitting at almost 12,600 on the daily chart, and we are seeing that the crossover between the 50 and 100 happened recently. However, if I go to the 4-hour chart and I want to show you something which is over here, happened in the end of April, a proper crossover of all the moving averages happened. So this is generally taken as a bullish indication, but it's too early to say because the crossover happened just at the end of April, so only 10-12 days have passed. We need to make sure. So tomorrow is going to be pretty important for the market. Also, because if inflation is lower, that will give a little bit hope to the market that yes, June will be the time when US Fed will not increase interest rates. So that is why it can turn out to be quite positive. Okay, let's take a look at S&P 500, because that is important also, which is currently sitting at 4123. So let's go in over here on the 4-hour chart. So this area here looks interesting in recent times, 4050, 4055. This area here looks interesting in the short term at least. And this is how much from current price. If we look at this, represents a downside of roughly 1.5% or 65 points. And on the top side we are seeing, if we look from here, 4158 or 4160 onwards is from where we are straight away seeing rejection in the market. Of course, this is what the market will try to target over here, 4300. If data is good tomorrow, that is what we would be expecting to see, that gradually market will start to pump towards this point. And if we look at this from current price, represents an upside of roughly 4.5%. So these are some of the key levels that we have to be careful of for tomorrow. And as you know, markets are very volatile, hence we have to manage our risk accordingly. Let's take a look at Apple, because we have seen a very strong upward move on Apple. Look at this very sharp upward move, If I zoom out, let's go to the daily chart first. So this was a long-term trend line that was happening, and we finally broke out of this in March, and from that point onwards we are going up. 173 was one of the first targets because of this area here. Even if you look from here, this point, so this is roughly 175, and we touched 173, little bit retracement after that. Again, tomorrow if it's good, then this is the next target for Apple. And if I keep zooming out, you can see that the all-time high was 183. So we are not that far behind. So if you look towards the upside, 6% upside if Apple goes back towards the all-time high. So which means a lot of pump has happened on Apple already, and maybe it is time to be a little bit careful if we are talking about Apple stock. Of course, tomorrow if inflation data is positive, then the whole market will start to show nice upward move, and it might give us the chance towards this all-time high. Okay, next what should we look at? Okay, let's take a look at Tesla now. Let's see what is happening on Tesla. This is the long-term trend line. Let's take a look. Let's extend this a bit. And if you look at this overall action, let me draw this out. Look at this pump happened on Tesla, and then we are seeing something of this sort develop on this daily chart, which represents that a bull flag is starting to form on the Tesla stock. So this is good that we are seeing a bull flag form. So this is very nice. Upside 175 for this bull flag, and downside is roughly 140, 150. So this is some of the targets that we have to keep in our mind. RSI sitting at 48.6, and if we see a full on pump, then yes, $200 will be the target, somewhere around here where the top part of this channel is also currently. And look at the moving averages on the daily chart. 50 moving average at 182, 100 moving average at 200, which I mentioned as the target, and then we have 200 moving average sitting at 217. So this is something that is good for Tesla actually, that we are in a bull flag. There is something very nice. Let's quickly take a look at NIO also, because a lot of drop had happened on NIO recently. We touched 7.3, 7.4. Market is trying to hold this price above $7. Look at what is happening. Look at this. Market was making a lower low over here, but look at the RSI making a higher low, giving us a bullish divergence on NIO. And the earnings are expected towards the end of the month, so probably that is the time when we might see a nice big move on the NIO stock. But overall, a lot of drop has happened. Look at the all-time high. This was around $66, currently sitting at $8. So this is how much? 87-88% down already. So quite the drop has happened. If I try to look back, okay, little bit action available on $8. Then we have 5.8, $6 roughly. So this is what is happening on NIO stock. Then let's check quickly oil also. Very nice move by oil recently. Market dipped into this area and we were able to catch this wick. I bought at around 64.5, yeah, over here, and 71 is where I had taken my exit. Current price sitting at 73.4. Short term $74 is where oil is facing resistance. Of course, if we see a full pump, like continuation of this pump, then we are looking towards this level. Look at all of these wicks over here. This level is starting from almost $80 going up till $82. This region here is where we are continuously seeing rejections for the past 6 months. And look at this. If I check this one out, this was the first pump we saw around 28%, and recently also we are up almost 13.8%. If you go up till this range again, 26%. So yeah, nice movement shown by oil. However, as you are aware, the more pump we see in oil, that is not good for the economy, because that will contribute towards an higher inflation. So that is something we have to be careful of. Hi, how are you? I'm good. How are you? Let's take a look at gold. Yeah, gold is also pumping given the uncertainty in the world. 2050 being a psychological number will be the next resistance for gold. Let's take a look at silver. We saw these two double top forming at around $26. So probably that is what the market will try to test again. If there is a pump higher than this, then there might be a retest of 26 before continuing back upwards. So this is what is happening on oil and gold and silver. Let's move to the world of cryptocurrencies. Talking about Bitcoin, we are seeing that the market is trying to test the 200 moving average, sitting at 27,300 roughly. And if we are not able to hold this level, then we are looking towards somewhere around here, 26,700, 26,800, and another small level is available at roughly 27,000. So this region here might come into play. There is a chance, of course it's not a certainty, there is a chance that this level might come into play. So we have to keep an eye on these levels. Towards the upside, we are looking at this region here, which is starting from 28,700. Next interesting level is somewhere around here, 29,700. So these are some of the key levels that we are looking forward to. Also, if you want us to analyze any specific thing, please feel free to let us know in the comments, and we can take a look at that. So this was Bitcoin. Of course, whenever we are talking about cryptocurrencies, we have to take a look at the total market cap itself. So let's go there. So once again, look at this level coming into play. This is roughly 1.1 trillion or 1.11 trillion. So this is coming into play. Next interesting level on the total market cap is roughly 1.09, which is actually only 1.8% down. So if that is the case, if we see this drop, then yes, Bitcoin will be in that 26,800 range that we just saw. Now on the top side, towards for the resistance, we are looking at 1.16 over here, then 1.19. So if we talk about 1.15, this is roughly 5% up, and the next one is around 7% up. And the ultimate target in the short term is this area here, which is 1.25 trillion on the total market cap, and this would represent a pump of 12.7%. So these are some of the areas or ranges that we have to be careful of. But if you talk about the altcoins themselves, we are actually seeing that they have taken quite the dip, and we are reaching the point where we might want to take a first entry and then wait for lower levels. If we see lower levels, we can take another entry, but yeah, for first entry we are in that zone right now. For example, let's check QNT USDT. So you can see we are making a double bottom here looking at the March price. So we are getting this double bottom. Even over here a lot of action was available. So 105 is the current price. So yeah, 105, this can be one of the first entry points. And if we zoom out somewhere around here, which is around $85, then after that we can maybe wait for $40 on QNT. So you get the idea that we are reaching the first entry areas for the altcoins. So this is something which is good. Okay, what else should we look at in recent times? We can look at Microsoft because that was showing some nice move also. Sorry. Yeah. So again, you can see crazy pump has happened on the Microsoft stock, currently sitting at 307. In the short term market would be looking towards this point, which is 316. This top over here also, if I try to move this, coincides with this action available over here. Let me zoom in so you can see all this action over here. And then the ultimate target would be the double top with the all-time high, roughly $345 over here. Yeah, this would be one of the ultimate targets for the Microsoft stock. If we talk about the percentages from current price, so 316 would represent 3% pump, and then all-time high is roughly 12%. Towards the downside, we have this peak over here, roughly 290. Let's get rid of this, and then we have some action available in this range, which is $280. So this area here for Microsoft might come into play if tomorrow is not good, given that inflation data is going to be announced. Of course, we have to look at the VIX index also, a very important metric. Let's go to the daily chart. So we are sort of in this zone over here. Look at this. As you know, the more drop happens in VIX, the more pump you will see in S&P. So this is a small area. This is roughly 15 points till 17 points. After that, we are looking somewhere around here, which is 10 points. However, look at all these wicks that are happening around 30 points over here. So if that is the case, if we take this, if we see this pump, look at this, it's a lot of pump is possible in the wicks, which means a sharp decline in S&P can happen. So this is something we have to be careful about. Another similar thing is this metric over here, which represents the number of stocks that are above the 50 moving average, and generally we have seen that the 22 mark is where when we see a bounce in the market. So whenever this metric went into this range, we see a bounce from here, which means a bounce in the stock market, and that is what happened recently also. Now the ultimate target for this is after 76 points, which is over here, and market tries to reject from here. So this is telling us that yes, some upside is possible. However, VIX is telling us that no, upside is limited and more downside is possible. So a mixed bag over here. But yeah, overall tomorrow will be one of the most key days for this year, given that inflation data is there, and it will give the direction that what the US Fed will do. If US Fed will be increasing their interest rate aggressively, not aggressively, but even in June, then yes, market will not take it positively. If inflation shows that it's coming under control, then yes, there is quite the chance that tomorrow might become good for the market. So hopefully everything remains good for everyone, and hopefully we'll see what happens tomorrow. Until then, if you are actively trading, please consider using proper risk management, and we'll see